Good morning again, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first another rant, because I've seen more stupid. As I was certain I was going to. Now we got Republican fuckers saying, but I listened to Putin's speech and it just makes sense. And basically, if you want to know what that speech was a bunch of Putin posturing, using Bible verses and using them out of context, as they tend to do. I am the conservative. I am the savior of traditional values. Sit your white fucking savior ass the fuck down, all right? See, a lot of people in this country, particularly Republicans, want you to swallow this idea that we were founded on traditional values. Now, what are these traditional values, you may ask? Well, it is whatever the Republicans say they are. And if you've been around a few decades, you'll notice that that changes with every given generation, right? To suit whatever particular agenda they are trying to push. See, what our country was actually founded on, am I going to say the Bible had no influence? No, because I'm not an idiot. Okay? Majority of the people who founded our country were Christian. Yes. Of our laws can be find its traces back into the Ten Commandments. Yes, it's true. I'm not a moron. That being said, our country is also founded upon the concept that religion should have no part in our fucking politics. Right? It was founded off of the idea that you should have the freedom to exercise and practice your religion in safety. What you do not have right to do, is dictate to your neighbor right next to you what religion he should follow and practice, if any religion at all. It's the concept of freedom of religion and also separation of church and state. It means we don't base our decisions off of particular religious practices. We base them off of rule of law. And one would hope some logic and common sense. Just saying. Again, as I stated in my last video, the Republicans should be the last motherfuckers pounding their chests right now and demanding peace after they have pocketed millions of dollars from their independent defense contracts where they put Merc boots on the ground. Okay? Invading countries that had nothing to do with 9/11. Nobody remembers the fucking Bush days? Just me? Okay. Take it from me, Gen Z. These people don't have a single goddamn foot to stand on. The Republicans have been warmongers for years, and the fact that now they're trying to pull the wool over everyone's fucking eyes and act like they're going to be the peacemakers is a laughable joke if it wasn't so serious. You can have your values, Republicans. You can have your values, leftist liberals. You can even have your extreme opinions. What we're supposed to have the freedom of in this country is that you are allowed to have these things without infringing on somebody else's rights. Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about these people who literally get offended by fucking everything and feel like they have the right to sit there and bitch, moan, and complain. No, I'm not talking about those fuckers. I'm talking about something different here. I've had some very interesting mentors in my life. Let's put it this way. Your rights, your religion, how you choose to live your life should in no way, shape, or form then force me to live life according to the dictates of Your thoughts, your opinions, your religion. Freedom of religion, separation of church and state. These founding principles were put as a part of this country for a fucking reason. Republicans want to sell you a lie. They want to sell you this fairy tale about the revolution. Coming from a daughter of the revolution, it's a crock of shit. Okay? It's a crock of shit. Our founding fathers, if you care to study them, are a very interesting group of people consisting of slave owners, rapists, party animals. When you look at the actual humans, as opposed to the fairy tale they sell you when you're in elementary school, it becomes infinitely more interesting. And I always did prefer, actually, as much as I like to read fiction, my favorite genre is the nonfiction section. Okay? You're buying Putin propaganda. And you're doing so without even demanding evidence of his claims. So, how are you different from any of the extreme liberals on the left who do the same thing? You're simply two sides of the same coin. You have no moral authority of any kind to dictate this or that, particularly when it comes to war. Because Republicans, your hands are covered with the blood of many innocent people who were fucking butchered during those tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And you know what? I support the troops. My brother was a fucking soldier. My stepdad was a soldier. My grandfather was a soldier. My dad was a cop. Okay? I support our veterans 110%, but they're not the people who put themselves there. That's these warmongering Republicans who sit there and want to tell you that all of a sudden they're interested in peace. You do not get to use your religion to dictate to the rest of the world what traditional values are. Because everyone's traditional values, their customs, their family histories, tales, and stories are all different. You don't get to have a savior complex. Nor do you get to rally around like a bunch of groupies at a rock concert around one guy who just says the right things. Everybody has gone and done lost their minds over the last several decades and seem to have forgot how to use critical thinking skills. Or even how to review recent history. I rant about it because I'm just so done. I'm so done with the bullshit and the lies and the stupidity and these people pounding their chests on either side of the fucking aisle trying to push one agenda or another while meanwhile families are fucking starving. Get my point, right? I don't care if Putin's telling you all that shit out of the Bible that makes y'all tingly. I don't care because I know, as most politicians do, he's telling you what you want to hear. Okay? Any of you idiots who actually think that that man is not corrupt as fuck, I raised the point that he's a former KGB. And even if he wasn't, have you looked at politicians? Ever study it? Ever have to work with and be face to face with these fuckers? Because I have. And if you think that they care about you or me or particularly the disabled, they don't. Okay? We are a means to an end. As soon as you realize this, you learn how to wheel and deal with them. You learn how to make things happen. It's not nice, it's not pretty, and it sure as hell makes you feel filthy as hell when it's over with. But again, I deal in realities, not fantasy. The point of this particular ramble, other than me just being fucking done with humanity as a whole, is this. You Republicans right now are acting like traitors. I'm going to say it. You sound not all that different from the individuals who said it would be best to buy off and appease Hitler. Okay? He said all his right words too. How did that end up? Exactly. You know what the definition of insanity is? It's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. If you really think these Republicans care if World War III starts, they don't. They back Putin because it serves their purpose. That's it. And as with all the other wars, it's just going to be used to line their fucking pocketbooks. They'll just have the ability to say, well, I said we shouldn't go to war. Right? Right. I don't know how else to put it, folks. Appeasement doesn't work. We know this from world history, relatively recent world history. Republicans are not a peace-loving party. I can reference you directly to the invasions of Iraq and Afghanistan and the defense contractors that went out there getting money from the government to line these millionaires' war chests. Okay? You want to know who's on the people's side? The people. You want to know who helps people? The people. It's the way it's always been. So, let's stop with the hypocrisy. If y'all think Putin is so great, why don't you do what you always tell us to do and move there? Tell me how you like it. I mean, after all, you're telling me my bitch ass should move out of Missouri if I don't like it, right? Right? If you don't like Biden's US, why don't you move to Moscow? I mean, he's your boy, right? That's how done I am with this stupidity. Oh, but I'm a horrible person for saying that? Y'all don't listen to yourselves, do ya? Alright, back to what I was doing. Remind me, before I do the last video for today's front load, to not read my TL, because I'm just getting more pissed off and done with humanity while we speak. Alright. Disclaimers. In the description box, you can find the link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It is written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's quote-unquote behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill, folks. Please read it article and share it on all your social media. We also have linked in there Ozark's first article in regards to Agape Boarding School, now known as Stone for Help Boarding School. This is a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri, that takes in so-called troubled male teens, that has and pending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it. These include sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI. You've got another, a doctor who's still on the premises with full access to the boys up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too obsessed with drag tweens to do his goddamn job, and you've got a governor who's hyped up on I don't even know what the fuck what. Just get me the fuck out of here for the love of God, or somebody send the goddamn comment. Anyone up there that fucking likes me, send the comment. Ugh. You get the point. So please read that article and share it on all your social media. We also have the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, or as we like to call it here, bearing witness, this is the living archive. And I have it up, folks, because I have a feeling that Dr. Matthew Israel is about to tell you some more lies. And I do like my receipts. We also included Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present self-explanatory change.org Shut the Judge Rotenberg Center Down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please go ahead and use those headphones, all right? All right. This channel is marked. Excuse me. This is how done I am with fucking life. I can't even brain correctly here. Ugh. This channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger, parental supervision is very obviously advised. All right, we are about to descend once more into the mad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. We're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, lies, pseudoscience, enough ableism and bigotry to circle the globe a few thousand times, all from a man with a massive ego and an insane God complex. So just be prepared, all right? I'll take a long draught of this. I'm going to need all the kava tea today. Like all in like triple strength. This is how I get through it, folks. All right, the MDRI authors report that they spoke to only 3 former JRC employees and all 3 refused to be identified. These 3 appeared to be the same 3 disgruntled former employees who have been telling the same lies about the JRC for years. This is where they paint Greg Miller as the boogeyman. Funny thing about Greg Miller. He's been proven to be right. And you know who corroborated his tales? The New York Department of Special Education. So, doctor, is New York lying? Because if you're telling me the 3 that have been saying, no, let's play devil's advocate here. There's disgruntled employees who like to start shit, sure. I've seen it. I work in fucking call centers, for God's sakes. It's nothing but an extended fucking high school for people who can't get hired anywhere else. Especially us fucking misfits with disabilities. Okay? It's an extended long high school yard. Okay? So, doctor, that being the case, why would they tell the same lie for years? A general disgruntled employee would say their piece and then move on. I'll ask you again, doctor, how do you think any of us are profiting from this? Greg Miller was not paid for his appearances to go on those shows. He was not paid to circulate the petitions. He received no monetary benefits from speaking out against you. In fact, he received threats to his life, threats to his family, blackmail from you. Funny, I didn't see him end up in a mansion before he died. About that, right? What benefit do they have to lie about you, doctor? What benefit do I have to lie about you? I don't even know you. I don't have anyone that I directly know who's in your school. There is no monetary benefit or even power grab that I could go for in any way, shape, or form that me coming against you is going to benefit me in any way. Anyway. So why, doctor, have we been coming after you for over 24 years? Although that's a lie too, isn't it? Because we've been coming after you since 1972. What does this say, folks? Are we telling lies? Funny about those who tell lies. Let's look at the JD versus AH case, for example. The ones who tell the biggest lies tend to never show up with the receipts. Let me say that again for you, doctor. Those who tell the biggest lies tend to show up without any receipts. You want to know what the receipts these employees have that we have? All of this. Look at it, doctor. Look at it. That is decades, literal decades of information. Look at it. Pre-1988, 1988 to 2011, 2012 to 2014. Look at it. Look at it. Look at these protests here. This is ADAPT. What kind of benefits do you think that ADAPT gets for the work that they do? They get put behind bars. They get jailed. They get it put on their permanent records. That's the thanks they get. You see? I bring this up again because once again, he's sitting there and trying to tell us that it's all lies. We don't have any receipts. We don't have any proof. And we literally have a massive archive of pretty much nothing but fucking proof. But let's go ahead and read here. One of these resigned from JRC after being transferred due to poor performance from work in classroom to a residential assignment that he did not want to perform. This is when they were trying to slander Greg Miller. It's a lie, folks. Again, a provable one. The JRC loves to smear people, particularly whistleblowers, but it falls on deaf ears when you look at these people who has testified against them and it matches up with the New York report. It matches up with the UN report. It matches all these reports and investigations, but Dr. Matthew Israel insists we're all lying, we're all biased, we're all misleading but him. Again, can I lock him and AH in a cell together to see if they can out-narc one another? Just saying. He worked for the JRC for over 3 years, during which he never raised a single complaint about any procedure, despite being a mandated reporter who had obligation to report any suspected abuse. JRC has more than 10,000 employees working for it since 1996 alone. To give credence to the word of a few disgruntled employees without seeking the other side of the allegations, without seeking to speak with any of the many current and former employees who are supportive of JRC, speaks volumes about the lack of credibility of the MDRI report. Does it? Does it? Just trust me, bruh. Just trust me. Out of those 10,000 employees, doctor, going over how many residences you actually have in the one school that you operate, why was there over 10,000 employees? I'm going to tell you what he won't. Because there is a massive high turnover rate at the JRC. We're talking far faster than any fast food restaurant that you see. They have a higher turn rate than McDonald's, Taco Bell, and KFC combined. Why is that, doctor? Why is such a small school that owns 3 residences going over 10,000 employees between mid-90s to 2010? Because most places don't do that unless you're a call center or a fast food restaurant. We have several schools. Again, we have Rivendell out here. Rivendell has been here. It started in the early 2000s. It's been around for over 20 years now. We have not come anywhere close to over 10,000 employees having worked inside that school or the residences around it. ARC, as we know, is nationwide. They are the fucking largest purveyor of services for people with developmental disabilities and other issues in the United States, bar none. They are definitely the largest out here in my state by a lot. A lot. And I can tell you from the time that I did my work with them, and that started back circa 2006, when I started to work with them, all the way up to 2010, they didn't even go through 1,000 employees to do this whole area. Because believe me, they wish they could. This is a massive area with several constituents. You have some areas more highly populated than others. It can be a fucking mind fuck trying to cover these areas. Trust me on that one. None of these places have had the same kind of turnover rates that the JRC has. One would have to wonder, why is JRC having a turnover rate that can actually compete with most fast food restaurants? One does wonder indeed, don't they? And doctor, what did these 3 so-called disgruntled employees have to gain from complaining against you? And why would they consistently do it year after year after year? What do they have to gain for it? Are they just trying to punish poor victim Dr. Matthew Israel? No, folks. No. But what about the other employees who support us? A lot of people supported Jim Jones too, doctor. How'd that go? Yeah, about that, right? There are people in cults all over the United States right now willing to believe all kinds of insane shit. Doesn't make it right. You can have a bunch of your cult-ass motherfucker follower doctors and all the people you've got to buy your bullshit over the last 4 fucking decades line up in a row. I'm still not going to believe them, doctor. But why would you believe the whistleblowers? But I didn't, doctor. I didn't just believe them on their word. Because I don't believe anyone at just their word. I believed them when it was corroborated and backed up by the testimony of the students, when it was corroborated and backed up by the DESI reports, corroborated and backed up by your own video surveillance footage, backed up by the report done by the New York State Department of Special Education, backed up by the UN Special Rapporteur on Torture. You see where this is going, right? I believe those so-called disgruntled employees is because they have more than enough hard evidence to back up what they're saying. Whereas Dr. Matthew Israel has his own skewed data reports and his chart here to prove it. I'm going to close on that. We don't. No, only this before I go. I'm sorry, Ross Perot, that I made that comparison. You were an awesome dude. Dr. Matthew Israel, not so much. All right. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.